We are back. John Delarose here, the leading Hispanic voice in science fiction, coming at you with another. It's not a comics writer pro secrets this time. It is a novel writer pro secrets. And that's because I'm going to talk about actual book writing today. It kind of applies to comics in some ways. But the topic, as you see, is the importance of blocking. And blocking is just little actions in between things so that you get a sense of space, basically, that it's just not two talking heads talking together. On the comic end, it's very apparent when you see this because you see panel after panel of just heads and bubbles, and then they're talking. And it slows down comic pacing pretty badly. So you try to avoid that as much as possible. Sometimes it can't be helped, but for the most part, you want to have your characters doing something in motion. Comics is a fluid sort of medium that you want that. And that also is true for novels. So I started reading this book last night as I held it up. And this is The Last Kind Word Saloon. And this is supposed to be a very well-renowned Western. And I like Westerns a lot. They're very action-oriented typically, which is something I enjoy. It's something that, a lot of sci-fis model themselves after Westerns. And I figured I would check this out real quick. Well, I get through about 50 pages of this, and I see that it is mostly two men talking back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And it's just talking. And, this is a 200-page book, so I'm a quarter of the way through it, and I'm bored. And that's because of blocking for the most part. I'm not really getting too much of a sense of space from what's going on. I mean, there's a little bit of description at like the beginning of scenes and at the end of scenes and all that in here, but I don't get a sense of what they're doing. I just get a sense that they're sitting there talking. And when you have blocking problems like this, it really kills the immersion of a book. It kills your interest in a book. It's very tough to come back from that. The only way you can really push past that is if your dialogue is so good that the characters really transcend anything that matters there. And that's really difficult to do. So what you got to do is put in some blocking into your fiction. And there's a fine line here because too much blocking will slow the pace down so much of the books that it just looks like you have really big paragraphs and too much description, and it'll cause problems in and of itself. You see this a lot in a lot of amateur writing when people try to over-describe things. Like they'll talk about this light switch right here, and they'll be like, it's a rectangular light switch with two rectangular things in it, and each one of them has four different buttons in it. Each one of those buttons is a rectangle by itself, and then two of them where the dimmers are actually are triangles that are formed into a rectangle, and it's got screws in it, and the screws are and you can go on and on and on and on, where a normal person describing that would just be like the light switch on the wall was on the wall, and that's good enough, right? So that's the difference between the two, like over description and not. But also, if you're in a scene where there is a light switch on the wall and you need to turn on the light to be able to see something in the room, you better mention that the light switch is on the wall. Otherwise, you just get a talking head talking. So that's kind of the fine line between too much and not enough. This book certainly had not enough. It didn't hold my interest at all because there was not much going on. I didn't get a sense that the characters were actually doing anything. And it's so important to do that in your fiction if you want to make your world feel fuller, if you want to make people feel real, because most people don't just sit around and talk and do nothing. Most people are talking while they're walking or having a drink or doing something while they're having conversations. And so that is a crucial element to storytelling. I hope you guys will take to heart and add to your fiction. If this is useful to you, hit the like, hit the subscribe, leave a comment down below, and let me know about what you are experiencing in your blocking or in books that you're reading or writing. And I'll be back soon. Thanks, guys. I will see you soon.